You send an Excel file, 5 minutes later, someone overwrites your formula and breaks your entire report. And now you're fixing something that already worked. In this video, I'll show you 6 Excel tricks that protect your file before you share it, so people can use it without breaking it or sharing confidential information. Here I have a simple sales commission tracker. The user needs to enter the date, sales rep, product, units sold, and unit price. But the remaining columns contain formulas that calculate the sales amount, commission rate, commission earned, and net revenue. And these are exactly the type of cells we don't want people editing, because it's very easy for someone to change a commission rate, accidentally overwrite a formula, or break logic behind the report without realizing it. We need to protect the worksheet while still allowing users to enter data in the correct cells. To do that, we first select the cells where the users are allowed to type. For demo purposes, I'll just select to row 20, but you should select an adequate range of cells for your needs. Then Control 1 to open the Format Cells dialog box. On the Protection tab, you'll see by default all cells are locked, so you want to uncheck Locked. Click OK, and then on the Review tab of the ribbon, we've got Protect Sheet. Here you can pick exactly what users can do while the sheet is protected. Sort, filter, use autofilter, format cells, insert rows, etc. Now by default, Select Locked Cells and Select Unlocked Cells is on. Now you might think it'd be a good idea to not allow users to select locked cells to prevent them seeing sensitive formulas. But there's an easy way around this, which I'll show you in a moment. Then I'll show you the correct way to prevent users seeing formulas. Now before clicking OK, you can enter a password if you want. The user can now type into the input cells as they would normally, but if they try to edit a formula or type into a locked cell, they get a dialog box telling them the cell is protected. Now earlier I mentioned how deselecting select locked cells doesn't prevent them seeing your formulas. Now if I try and select a cell that contains a formula, even using the arrow keys, you can see I can't select it. However, I can go up to the name box here and type in the cell reference, press enter, and now I've selected the cell and I can see the formula. I can screenshot it, take it to a competitor, etc. Now if your formulas are proprietary, sensitive, or just messy enough that you don't want recipients seeing the inner workings, you can hide them so the formula bar shows nothing when those cells are selected. So let's unprotect sheet, and we'll select the cells we want to protect. Control 1, and here I want to choose hidden. You need to also have locked selected. Click OK. Now when I protect the sheet, it doesn't matter if my users can select locked cells. I'll click OK, because even when they select them, you can't see anything in the formula bar. Just keep in mind that this is not encryption. A determined user can still unprotect the sheet and see the formula, even if you set a password to protect it. Okay, tricks 1 and 2 stop people from editing or seeing your formulas. Great. But a user can still right-click the sheet and delete the entire sheet, rename it, move it, or unhide your backend, and that's where workbook protection comes in. Protect Workbook locks the structure of the workbook and stops people from adding, deleting, renaming, hiding and unhiding, or reordering sheets. It doesn't prevent them editing cells though. People can still type in any unlocked cell. Let's turn it on. Now if I right-click a sheet tab, I can't insert, delete, rename, or copy the sheets, nor hide or unhide. To recap, if you want users to enter data but not break formulas, use Protect Sheet. If you want to prevent users from deleting or unhiding sheets, use Protect Workbook. And if you need both, then use both. Quick pause. What we're doing here is a good reminder that Excel skills go well beyond knowing formulas. In the real world, your workbooks need to be easy to update, hard to break, and clear enough for other people to use it confidently. And that's where the right Excel foundations make a huge difference. In my Excel Expert course, I teach the tools and techniques that help you build more reliable professional files, including structuring your data properly so it can grow over time, building formulas that are easier to maintain, creating dynamic reports that update automatically, using tools like tables, pivot tables, data validation and conditional formatting, applying best practices that reduce errors, and make your files easier for others to use. This is the kind of Excel knowledge that saves hours, prevents errors, and actually makes you more valuable at work. If that's what you're aiming for, the link's in the description and pinned comment. Most Excel files have a back end, things like lookup tables, source data, helper calculations, stuff your formulas need, but recipients should never touch. The standard move is to right-click on the sheet and hide it, and then apply the workbook protection. And that works, sort of. The problem is the workbook protection can be removed, and anyone who right-clicks a sheet can see that there are hidden sheets to be unhidden, and now they're curious. But there's a better way. Let's unhide our hidden sheets, and then Alt F11 opens the VBA editor. Now don't worry, you don't need to write any code for this. On the left you have all the objects in your workbook. These are the different sheets, and underneath we've got the properties. Now if you don't see the properties pane, go to the View menu and Properties window. And the last attribute here is whether the sheet is visible. Now by default it's visible, but we can set the sheet to Very Hidden. And now if I minimize the VB editor, you can see the sheet is not displayed in the sheet tabs, and if I right click, there's no option to unhide the sheet either. Effectively, the sheet is completely invisible. It's still there, of course, formulas still reference it, everything still works, but right clicking the sheet tab doesn't give away that there are hidden sheets, so anyone browsing the file isn't going to find it without knowing what they're doing. To bring back the sheet, go back into the VB editor and simply change the property to visible, and it's back. One important note, anyone with intermediate Excel skills can still find a very hidden sheet. If you need actual security, that's the last trick in this video. We've spent this video building a fortress of a file, but there's one thing almost everyone forgets, and it can quietly undo a lot of the privacy work we just did. In the File tab, under Info, every Excel file you create contains personal information you might not want to send. Things like author name and last modified by, as well as metadata like names attached to comments, sometimes even custom XML data, and of course, hidden worksheets. If you're sending this file to a client, a recruiter, an external partner, or anyone outside your company, you should be mindful of what this says about the integrity of the file. You can easily check this information using the Document Inspector. Before running the Document Inspector, I recommend making a backup copy of the file because some changes cannot be undone. Once you've made your copy of the file, click Inspect Document. It's going to ask you to save changes. Let's do that. We get a list of the items it can inspect. You can deselect any you don't want it to check. When you're ready, click Inspect. Excel scans the file. Anything it finds, you can wipe out with one click of the Remove All button. Removing identifying details like author, last modified by, and other metadata. You can treat this a bit like spell check, but for privacy. It's the last thing you do before hitting send. Everything we've done so far protects against accidents and casual snooping, but it doesn't stop a determined person who really wants in. Sheet protection, even with a password, is notoriously easy to crack. Sometimes you need real security. You might have salary data, M&A spreadsheets, client financial records, anything regulated. For those, you need to encrypt the entire file. Encryption means that until you type the right password, the file literally cannot be opened, and there's no way to remove the password unless you already know it. Not by Microsoft, not by anyone. To set it up, go to the File tab, Info, click on Protect Workbook, Encrypt with Password. Enter your password, use something strong, and save it in a password manager. I'm just going to enter 123 to make it easy for me to remember. Click OK, re-enter the password, and OK again, and now my file is password protected. I'll close it and reopen it. Let's see the experience. Here's my file. Let's open it. It's asking me the password. If I don't know the password, I can't open it. Let's try again. And voila. And that's it. From this point on, anyone who tries to open this file gets the password prompt before they see a single cell. Now to remove the encryption later on, you can go to the File tab, Info, Protect Workbook, Encrypt with Password, and you can delete it. And now the file isn't password protected. So now you've seen the full spectrum, from simple protections that prevent mistakes to full file encryption that actually locks everything down. But here's the part most people don't realize. Not all Excel passwords are created equal. Some of the protections we've covered can be removed surprisingly easily. Others are much harder to break. If you want to understand which passwords you can remove and how, watch this video next. I'll walk you through the different types of Excel protection and show you exactly what's secure and what isn't. I'll see you there.